Welcome to another episode of Revenue Cycle Optimized and another installment in our RCM Insight series. Today, we're diving into how AI and automation are transforming claim status management. You'll hear from Bimal Sahu, Principal Product Manager at Infinx, as he discusses the challenges of traditional claims processes and how our innovative solutions can help reduce AR, accelerate cash flow, and streamline workflows. Now, whether you're looking to improve productivity or tackle persistent denials, this episode is packed with actionable insights you won't want to miss.
Awesome. So we'll do a quick overview of what exactly is, claim status check and why is it important. So now typically when you work on a particular AR account, which is either due for a follow-up or it's denied, you generally do a claim status check, or you want to understand the adjudication details of that particular claim in order to proceed further on actioning on that particular claim. Now, when you have a denial already denied, you already know most of the information about that particular denial. So you generally do not require a claim status check on it. However, there are scenarios, especially when it comes to doing a follow-up on a denial, when you've already worked on that particular denial and it's been like 15, 20, 30 days and there is no adjudication or response back from the insurance, you need to do a claim status check on it before proceeding further. And the other general use case is all the insurance follow-ups, all the no response claims, which have typically not been adjudicated. You won't want to do an insurance follow-up after a due time or due date has kind of passed since when it has been billed, right? So what it does is, like, typically if you take the entire AR, which consists of all the accounts that's there in your AR to be recovered from, 25 to 30% of the total volumes require a claim status check to proceed further on actioning on that particular claim, right? Now, to do a claim status check, there are three options. One, you may want to go into the payer's website, the specific portal, and get or retrieve the claim status information. The second option is if there is a clearinghouse and the clearinghouse functionality around claim status check is enabled for that particular client, then the specific agent can actually go into the clearinghouse and get the status updates around from the portal. And the third is you have to literally call the payer because there is no electronic channel in which you can reach them. So therefore you got to call the payer, end up in a queue behind a phone call, and then ask questions to the representative on the phone about certain specific claims that you are interested in, right? So what it means in real world is, when even if you have electronic way to retrieve the claim status, it still takes around up to 5 minutes to 7 minutes, 8 minutes to retrieve the details about that particular claim. Similarly, if you have to be on the phone call, then it's like a long wait time of about an hour. So that's where the agents or the representatives are losing critical time in following up with the payers, right? And what it impacts in terms of dollar values is that it takes about an hour, and you talk about like agent which is onshore in the US, it could cost about like 45 minutes worth of their daily or hourly wages just being on the phone call. So that kind of builds up to about $9.37 based on a recent survey about how much time is lost in terms of money to do a follow. I have next phase. Like, so how do we solve this in ARDM, right? As you're already aware, we have features around, extracting the total AR of that particular client into our system on a daily basis. We do prediction on it. We do prioritization of those claims. But this is where the system is smart enough to then orchestrate claim status automation along with the workflows. So what happens in our system is that once we've kind of extracted and we've kind of predicted and prioritized all of it, we have intelligence to identify which claims are now due for a follow-up. And therefore, those are automatically pushed into an automation queue. We have capabilities to do a claim status check in real time against the payer portals through different solutions via APIs, through clearinghouse portals, or doing bot automation against the payer portals, specific payer websites which are not supported by clearinghouses. So we have a multi-channel approach to solve for claim status check. And then once we retrieve those claims back, then we intelligently also evaluate those responses and put them into three different buckets to start off with as a default. We identify whether they are paid, whether they are denied, whether they are pending, and then do an update onto the EHR about certain repetitive actions, right? Now, typically, if you see, let's say we have a bunch of claims that came in, some of them have been evaluated that, hey, these require a claim status. It automatically kind of moves into that queue. The agent is not involved in at all of any of these processes yet. We send a trigger to the different payers via different options in different channels to retrieve the claim status information against that particular claim. And then whether if there is a failure, then it automatically goes back to the manual route for the user to then retrieve the claim manually. But if it's successful, then we also complete the additional process of evaluating that response back and determining whether it's paid, it's all denied or pending. And then we kind of do the auto update into the EHR system. There are kind of some other bots kind of built in to go back and update the billing system. Now, this is something that is still work in progress, but from a marketing standpoint, we need to communicate that we have the complete loop in control. Okay. Now, when it comes to like what are paid, denied, and pending cases and how are they relevant? Now, let's assume that a claim you were supposed to follow up, you do not have a payment against it. But when you retrieve the claim status check on or do a claim status check on a particular claim, you're getting a status that it's paid. So which typically then means that you should wait for a couple of more days for the payer to actually send that particular check to you and get posted by your payment posting team. So these are the cases generally does not need a agent's action at all because they can just bypass, wait for a couple of more days before they need to do a follow up on that paid claim because it's already paid, right? So you're supposed to not work on it at all. Then there are pending claims where again the payer is still adjudicating, it's in the process of adjudicating that particular claim, for which again there is nothing much for an agent to do at this point in time rather than waiting for follow up unless and until the status of the claims changes. The scenario is the third scenario is actually the denied claims. Those are the ones on which, depending on the denial information that is retrieved during the claim status check process, is when an agent will actually act on that particular claim. For the rest of the two scenarios about paid and pending, we just saved the agent's efforts to even look at that particular claim. Because all of that is systematically driven, automated, and orchestrated in a way that the agent doesn't even have to be involved in that particular process. So this is how we kind of actuate the entire claim status check in the revenue cycle AR and denial recovery workflow to ensure that one, the agent is focused on critical activities and claims that require their attention and more sophisticated cases. The mundane activities about checking a status with the particular payer is completely automated and they do not have to get involved. It saves a great amount of their time daily. And the third is all of this is kind of automated and streamlined and orchestrated so that none of the claims are also lost in from a timely limit perspective or from a follow-up perspective. Everything is being handled and being followed up on time because machines can scale but you may have limitations in the number of resources that you may have to do on a follow-up, right? So what are the key benefits from the healthcare provider? One, it gives you faster cash flows because you are able to kind of follow up on a whole lot more claims with technology and automation than agents can do, right? Mm-hmm. The second is it increases the agent's productivity. If today the agent was working on, let's say, 40 claims and he was doing, let's say, 10 of them as a claim status check. Now, since those 10 claim status checks are automated, that frees up the agent to do, 5 or 10 more claims. That increases their agent's productivity, right? As a total. The third is, I just discussed about that, right? 25% of that agent's daily effort, which is spent on going to a portal, going to a phone call and retrieving those claims out, is all taken care by the automation and the technology. So therefore, it kind of computes out to be about saving 25% of the daily agent's effort. And the third scenario, in the fourth scenario actually, is about a higher success rate in resolving unpaid claims faster with automated status checks. Because you would now have all of the detailed information readily available rather than spending time or losing time on when that claim I have the time to actually go and work on that particular claim. Now you already have that information readily available with all the details that you need to actually resolve those unpaid claims right away. So it's just not about the cost reduction, but what it translates when it comes to KPI metrics is a faster cash flow, which means your monthly collections are going to increase because you are able to now follow up on more claims. Number two, your AR is going to reduce because the moment you start working on more claims than you can do today, you're going to resolve a whole bunch of it, and therefore your aging metrics around AR 9 over 90, your AR over 120, and your days in AR, they will see a significant improvement as you have more and more automation in place, right? So these are some of the hard metrics, right? I mean, when somebody says like, oh, is it just about like reducing my cost? But hey, wait a second. You should also think about these other benefits that it's going to drive. It's going to drive your monthly collections. It's going to reduce your AR, your aging over 90, 120 days in AR. And at the same time, all of this is you are going to get at a cheaper cost to collect. So how are like we doing this claims data check? We just talked about three things, right? We have APIs with the different clearing houses where we can retrieve this information. Now, the set of clearing houses where we have partnerships with is going to be the same or slightly different in terms of claims data check because claims data check is a different service. So we have added, or we're going to add even multiple clearing houses depending on the opportunities or the capabilities of those clearing houses in terms of coverage, which may or may not be the same as what we have for eligibility, prior auth, patient payment benefits, and other things when it comes to IPA. All right, the integrations with the clearing houses will be slightly different, or the clearing houses will be slightly different. That's number one. Number two is we can also do RPA against any clearing house. Let's say we don't have a coverage right now amongst the clearing house integrations that we have with our APIs. And we may find out that this is one particular clearing house, let's say it's Trizedo, that we don't have currently a partnership with, but we can absolutely build a bot against that to go to the clearing house and fetch that information. The third is neither of these solutions or any of the clearing houses support the claim status inquiries, and all the only resource that you have is to go to a payer portal, specific payer portal. Maybe it's like United Healthcare. It's only kind of, let's say, I'm just taking a random example here, but let's just say that their portal is the only source of information where you can get the most detailed information about a claim status check. If that's the case, then we have bots built against the UHC portal where we'll utilize the client's credentials to go and retrieve those claim status checks. So there are multiple different solutions. We are having differentiators. And we support quite a lot of pairs, and our omni-channel approach about APIs, robotic bots, and multiple clearinghouse integrations help us bring that claim status check information or response back with a higher success rate, because if one source on an approach or a channel fails, we have a backup to utilize other channels. We have to depend on that particular client's clearinghouse. So we are agnostic of what clearinghouse they are using. We do not really care, because you can actually submit a bill or you can retrieve a claim status check information from any different channel, but the 835 is the only thing that is supposed to get received on one particular clearinghouse and one particular place. So you can actually trigger a 830, you can submit a claim 837 from any source. But if when you get your 835s, it will be linked to a particular account
NPI.
on your particular NPI, your particular clearing house in which you will kind of receive this, the bank deposits. It's just one place. And we are also kind of scalable, HIPAA compliant. Nothing to kind of highlight here more because that's evident from our DNA of our platform. But we are scalable to the tune of doing up to 1,000 claim status checks per hour. And the other thing is like this, you can do 24x7, right? So it's not like you have to do this claim status check during the working hours. The automation can run throughout the day. Now, the other part is like, how does all of these capabilities now kind of blend into your workflow? And that is the other key secret sauce, right? You can get a claim status check, and all of these can be automated. Even if you have like a clearinghouse, you can subscribe to all of it. But how does that play into your workflow about working AR and denials? That's the one piece that we have solved by incorporating this into our AR and denial management recovery workflows. Right, great. And all of this is generally done like without the agent having to know that it's being done, because the moment they come to their office, like all of these status checks are already done before that. So all they're seeing is that, okay, from this my list, these have been taken out and these have been identified or kind of enhanced with the denial information. And I just need to kind of walk through that. It just makes my life easier, and then I can focus on more accounts, right? Now, this is from an agent's mindset, but as we discussed, like how does this give an overall value? It helps you bring down your AR because you can do follow-ups with a lot more accounts using automation. You're freeing up your agents to not work on worthless cases because it's either pending or it's paid, and they're working on like the complex scenarios to overturn those payments out. The third, it's bringing your days in AR over 90, 120, everything down. And obviously all of this is going to result in faster cash, which is going to show up in your books in your monthly payments.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Revenue Cycle Optimized. We hope you gained valuable insights on how automation and AI can revolutionize your claim status management. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more episodes in the RCM Insight series, where we explore strategies to optimize your revenue cycle and drive results. Until next time, keep innovating and streamlining your success.